The helmet weighed heavy on Adaizi's head as she accelerated her motorcycle between two yellow Danfos fighting for space on Allen Avenue. The January sun hammered down on the Acacia asphalt, and the smell of suya mixed with exhaust fumes. Her phone vibrated against the handlebar. Delivery 89 of 90. Just one more, and she would complete the 20,000 naira bonus that would make the difference between eating this week or not. "Sister, move sharp," an Okada rider shouted as he passed close by, and she swerved by instinct, reflexes sharpened after 6 months on Lagos streets. The app showed 18 minutes remaining. 18 minutes to collect the package from the shopping center and deliver to Yaba before the algorithm penalized her. That's when she saw the man stagger. He stood in front of the ShopRite store, his blue agbada stained with sweat, one hand pressed against the window display. Elderly, maybe 70 years old, forehead creased in confusion. Adaiz rode past him, accelerated 10 meters, and something made her check the rearview mirror. The man had fallen to his knees. 15 minutes now. She should continue. She needed to continue. 45,000 naira in overdue rent. The landlady knocking on her door every morning with that fake smile that said, "You have 3 days." Lagos was full of people collapsing in the heat. It wasn't her problem. Adaiz braked the motorcycle. "Wahala," she whispered, removing her helmet and running back. A few people walked past the man without stopping, quick and indifferent glances. The city taught you not to get involved. Getting involved cost time, and time was money nobody could afford to waste. She knelt beside him. "Sir, you day all right?" The man's eyes opened, disoriented, searching for something that wasn't there. Onye ka ibu," he whispered in Igbo, voice weak. "Sir, I go help you. Make we go hospital." Adaiz draped his arm over her shoulders, surprised by how much he weighed, or perhaps by how weak she'd become lately. When was the last time she ate anything besides akara and bread? She managed to get him onto the back of the motorcycle, his thin body trembling against her back. The phone vibrated insistently. 9 minutes. The delivery was automatically cancelled now. There went the bonus. Maybe the entire job. Lagos University Teaching Hospital was 10 minutes away. Adaiz accelerated, feeling the old man's weight, his irregular breathing against her shoulder. He murmured something in Igbo she couldn't fully understand, though her grandmother had tried to teach her as a child. Something about a room, a book, a name. The Luth emergency room seethed with the usual chaos, mothers with crying babies, men with injuries from Okada accidents, the sharp smell of disinfectant fighting with sweat and sickness. Adaiz helped the man to a wheelchair that a nurse brought over, answering rapid questions. No, she didn't know him. Yes, he collapsed in the street. No, she didn't know his name. You be him family. The nurse looked at Adaizi with that tired expression of someone who'd seen everything. No, I just help them. The nurse pushed the wheelchair inside. Make you wait here. We fit need you. Adaizi sat on a broken plastic chair, the phone finally silent in her hands. 3 messages from the app. The last one read, "Your account has been suspended for violation of terms of service. Failure to complete assigned delivery. 3rd job in 6 months." She closed her eyes, and for a second, she was back in that 3rd-year nursing classroom at University of Lagos, before everything collapsed. Before her mother started complaining of headaches. Before the diagnosis that came too late because they had no money for private hospital, and the queue at public took weeks. Before Adaiz dropped everything to care for her, watching life slip through her fingers while counting pennies for each paracetamol tablet. "Now you carry my papa?" Adaiz opened her eyes. The man standing before her wore a suit that probably cost more than 6 months of her rent. Tall, broad shoulders, face carved in the expression of someone who had no time for anything unprofitable. He held an iPhone with a gold case, and his shoes gleamed under the emergency room's fluorescent lights. Yes, I see M for Allen Avenue. He collapsed. Obiora Nwankwo. He didn't extend his hand. "My father get Alzheimer's. He run come out from house this morning. The security people, they look for him since hours." Adaze stood up, suddenly conscious of her sweaty delivery shirt, the gasoline smell stuck to her skin, the nails dirty with grease. "He go dey all right. The doctors dey examine him." Obiora typed something on his phone, not even looking at her. "You need money." "For bringing am." The question came so casual, so automatic, that Adaze took a second to process it. He still hadn't really looked at her. His eyes slid over her like over a billboard on the road, something to register and forget. "I no need your money." Now he looked. "Everybody need money. How much you want?" 200,000. 300? 45,000 naira. That's all she needed for rent. 300,000 naira would keep her for months, give time to find another job, maybe eat something besides bread with akara every night. She looked at his phone, at the suit, at that expression of someone accustomed to solving everything with money. Keep your money. Adaze picked up her helmet. "I help because no human being need help. It don't be." She left before he could respond, before temptation became too strong, before he saw the tears burning at the corners of her eyes. The motorcycle was where she left it, a parking violation ticket tucked under the rearview mirror. Another 80 naira she didn't have. The sky was reddening when Adaeze reached the compound in Mushin. 3 families shared the space, 15 people sharing one bathroom, cooking on stoves outside cramped rooms, clothes hanging across the courtyard like surrender flags. Children ran barefoot between puddles of water from the last bath, their laughter echoing against cracked concrete walls. Adaeze Ngozi sat on the step of her own room, frying akara in a pan over burning coals. The smell of fried black-eyed peas made Adaze's stomach growl. "Wetin happen? You look like person we see ghost." Adaze sat beside her friend. "And everything came out. The old man, the hospital, the lost job, the money offer she refused out of stupid pride when she had 3 days to pay rent or sleep on the street." Ngozi flipped an akara, the oil sizzling. "You know well. You for collect that money sharp. I know fit. You know see how he look me? Like say I be beggar way, they wait for handout. Na so rich people be." Ngozi removed the akara and placed them on newspaper to drain. She offered one to Adaze, still warm. "Them Nosabi say some people get pride past money." Adaze bit into the akara, the crispy exterior giving way to the soft center. "What in I go do now? We go find something." Ngozi placed her hand on Adaze's shoulder. "Tomorrow we go market. Somebody go need delivery person, shop attendant, something. Lagos big. Opportunity day." But opportunity didn't come the next day or the one after. Adaze walked through a shoddy market until the soles of her sandals became thin as paper, asking at every stall, every shop, every corner where someone might need extra hands. The answers were always the same. "We're not hiring. Come back next month. Leave your number but don't call us." On the second night, the landlady knocked on the door. "Adaze, tomorrow na final dayo. If you no pay, I go rent 'em for another person. Na better people way want rent this room." Adaze lay awake, staring at the cracked ceiling, counting the 1,000 naira notes she'd managed to save. 3,200. Not even 10% of what she needed. Through the open window, she heard Lagos breathe. Afrobeats music pulsing from some party. Shouts from an argument 3 streets down, the distant call of a muezzin for Isha prayer. The shrill laughter of prostitutes on the corner negotiating prices. Her phone vibrated. Unknown number. "Adaze Okonkwo?" The voice was male, formal. "My name na Dr. Adeyemi from Luth. You carry Chukwemeka Nwankwo come here 2 days ago." Her heart raced. "Yes, he day okay? Physically he day stable. But he run Komot from hospital this afternoon. The family day look for but a pause. He mentioned some places when he day here. Places from him youth time. Jekyll House, the old University of Lagos library. The problem be say the son no sabi those places. You remember anything way he talk when you carry him come?" Adaze sat up on the bed. "He day talk for Igbo, something about book and the Okenya. Old people? If you fit help us look. The family go pay. I no need payment." The words came out before she could think. "Tell me where we go meet." Obiora was waiting in front of the hospital, the suit exchanged for jeans and a polo shirt that probably cost Adaizi's monthly salary when she had a salary. He looked at her with the same indifferent expression as before, but something was different in his eyes. Tiredness, perhaps fear. "Why you they do this?" he asked when she parked the motorcycle beside his BMW. "Same reason I help AM before. Because the human being. My papa." Obiora ran his hand over his face. "He no be like wetin you think. He no be just sick old man. He be professor of Igbo literature. He published 6 books. He trained 1 generation of writers. But now," his voice cracked a little, "now he no even remember my name sometimes. You remember him name?" Adaze asked softly. Obiora blinked, confused. "Wetin?" "Your papa. You remember him name. You remember him books. You remember wetin he teach people. That one count pass if he remember your name or not." Something changed in Obiora's face, the armor cracking a bit. "You study nursing." It wasn't a question. Adaze looked at him and he raised his phone. "I investigate. 3rd year for Unilug. You drop out when your mama takes sick. She dies 6 months after. The anger came hot and fast. You no get right, you dey correct." Obiora put away his phone. "But I need to understand why person go refuse 300,000 naira when he clear say she need maybe nah because I remember say I be person. No be just poor girl we need saving." They stood there in the hospital parking lot, Lagos pulsing around them, gala and pure water sellers shouting their wares, patients walking slowly, ambulances arriving with sirens cutting through the night. 2 worlds that should never touch, meeting in the impossible space of human need. "Jekyll House," Adaze finally said. "We go try there first." The University of Lagos was quiet at night, students mostly in dormitories or libraries studying under weak lights. Jekyll House was an old 3-story building, whitewashed walls peeling, windows with rusted bars. Adaze had never been there when she studied. It was on the opposite side of campus, territory of the humanities departments she avoided, too focused on anatomy and pharmacology to think about literature. They found Chukwuemeka sitting on the entrance steps, the blue agbada now torn at the shoulder, bare feet covered in red dust. He was singing softly, a song in Igbo that Adaeze vaguely recognized, something her grandmother used to sing. "About rivers and coming home, Papa." Obiora ran to him, but Chukwuemeka pulled back, eyes wild. "You no be my Pekin. My Pekin still be small boy. You be who?" Adaze approached slowly, crouching in front of him. "Prof na Adaze, you remember? I carry you go hospital." His eyes focused on her, and some recognition flickered. "Ndadwe my daughter." "Yes, sir." She didn't correct him. "Wetin you they find here?" "My books." He pointed at the building. "I write books. 6 books. But them darn disappear. Nobody remember." Adaze held his hand surprisingly cold for the warm night. "I remember Professor Dr. Adeyemi talk say you be great teacher. You train plenty writers." They forgot. Tears rolled down his wrinkled face. "Everybody forget. Soon I go forget myself. Then where tin I go be? Nothing, dust. That no be true." The words came from a deep place inside her, a place she'd buried when she watched her mother waste away, when she dropped out of university, when she started delivering packages through Lagos as if she were invisible. "You no be wettin' you remember. You be wettin' you do. The books still dey there. The students where you teach still dey write. The words where you put for world no fit disappear." Chukwuemeka looked at her. Really looked, and Adaeze saw something there, a flash of the professor he'd been, of the man who dedicated his life to preserving a language the world tried to forget. "Indwegi ihe ibu ihe imere," he whispered. "You no be wettin' you get, you be wettin' you do." "Yes, Prof." Adaze's voice broke. "I see you. You matter. You still matter." Obiora stood behind them, and when Adaze looked, she saw tears on his face too. She wondered how long it had been since he saw his father as a person, just as a problem to manage, a disease to contain, a responsibility that interfered with business meetings. They took Chukwuemeka back to the BMW. He slept in the back seat, head resting on Adaze's shoulder, humming that song about rivers. Obiora drove in silence, but in the rearview mirror, his eyes met hers from time to time. "I invest for 23 startups this year," he finally said. "TechBridge Africa worth $800 million. I get meetings with CEOs, prime ministers, investors from 3 continents. And say my papa writes 6 books. I no say he dey run go Jekyll house when the world come too loud. You sabi now," Adaeze said simply. "Why you no vex? I been dey condescending, proud. I treat you like something way small. I dey vex." She looked out the window, Lagos passing in blurs of light. Yaba market still open, vendors shouting last offers. Suya stands with glowing charcoal. Groups of young people laughing outside bars, playing Burner Boy. Women braiding hair under streetlights. But Nino go carry anger way go heavy me down. I get my own wahala to face. At the hospital, doctors examined Chukwuemeka again. Obiora filled forms, made calls, arranged private caregivers. Adaeze sat in the waiting room, exhaustion finally catching up with her. She had 8 hours before eviction. 8 hours and 3,000 naira, come work for me. She opened her eyes. Obiora stood in front of her, and for the first time, he didn't look like the billionaire CEO. Just a tired son trying to do something right. "I no need charity. He no be charity." He sat beside her. "Na business proposal. TechBridge get scholarship program. We cover education for promising talents in exchange for work on our social projects. You go back to nursing school. While you day study, you go work as caregiver for my papa. Salary of 60,000 naira per month, plus housing and food. When you finish the course, you go get priority for our community clinic for Ajagunle. Why you day do this? Because you been correct." Obiora looked at his hands. "I forget say people be more than numbers for balance sheet. My papa teach literature because he believe, say stories make us human. You leave 90 deliveries to save stranger. Una too remind me of something where I forget to look for when I day build empire. Adaeze felt the weight of the last 48 hours. The lost job, the desperation, the sleepless night, searching for a confused old man through the dark university. She thought of her mother, how she always said, "Nkem dilim," my own is good, how she believed that kindness returns, even when the world seemed to prove otherwise. "I go do she said, "but no be because you day pay me, no because I fit help your papa remember, say he still be person way matter." Understood. Obiora extended his hand, and this time it was a handshake of equals. "When you fit start?" Adaeze checked the clock. 5 in the morning. In 3 hours, the landlady would knock on the door. "Now, but I need small favor. I need call one person," Gozi answered on the second ring. "Adaeze, wetin day happen? Pack all my things. I day come pick 'em for 1 hour. And Ngozi?" Adaeze smiled, and these were the first good tears in 6 months. "We win. Lagos no fit kill us today." 3 weeks later, Adaeze sat in the courtyard of the Nwankwo house in Victoria Island, helping Chukwuemeka eat jollof rice that the chef had prepared. He had good days and bad days. Today was a good day. He called her by the right name and told a story about when he taught Chimamanda Adichie in 1998, how she already knew she would be a writer. "Prof, you remember say you tell me? I no be wetin I get, I be wetin I do." He smiled, that smile that showed the man beneath the disease. "NYM you they do well. You done go back school?" "Yes, sir. Final year now. Next year I go be nurse. Your mama go proud." Adaeze swallowed the lump in her throat. "Yes, sir." She day proud. Through the window, she saw Lagos stretching to the horizon, the city that almost destroyed her, the city that saved her, the city that remained a mystery of chaos and grace. Her phone vibrated. Message from Ngozi. "My sister get work for ShopRite. Don Bay. We day celebrate weekend." Obiora came out to the courtyard, holding his laptop but truly present in a way he wasn't 3 weeks ago. "How he day today?" "Better. We talk about your mama. He miss She teach too history." Obiora sat down. "Them meet for university. She day read him manuscripts. They make notes for the margins. I find her notebooks yesterday. 20 years of notes. You go show "I go." He looked at his father. Even if he forget tomorrow, today he go remember that one count. Adais wiped Chukwemeka's mouth with a napkin. Every day way person remember say dem matter that one count. On Saturday, Adais went back to Mushin to pay the last rent she owed. 45,000 naira in clean notes that she counted into the landlady's hand, each one earned with dignity. The compound was the same. Children running, clothes hanging, smell of beans cooking. But something had changed. Or maybe Adais had changed. You no need stay here again, the landlady said, counting the notes. You too big for this place now. No be about big or small. Adais looked around at the families still living there, struggling as she'd struggled. Nah about remember where I come from. Remember say all those people here, them get story. The matter. Josie waited for her outside with freshly fried akara, and they sat on the steps, as they always did, sharing food and stories. Lagos roared around them, danfos honking, vendors shouting, music pulsing from somewhere. The eternal rhythm of a city that never stops, never gives up, always finds a way forward. You remember say you ask me wetin you go do? Ngozi said, licking oil from her fingers. Yes, look you now. Back for school, good job. They help person we need Ngozi smiled. You do sister. You win, but Adaisi shook her head. No be about winning. Nah about show up. Nah about choose to see people when Lagos teachers say, make we close eye. Nude about remember say every person rich or poor, sick or well, them get something way make them matter. On the last day of the year, the University of Lagos organized an event honoring retired professors. Obiora convinced Chukwuemeka to go, and Adaizi accompanied him, wearing blue Ankara that Ngozi helped her choose at the market. It was the kind of event she would never have entered 6 months ago. Professors in elegant agbadas, academics discussing theory, students performing poetry in Igbo, Yoruba, Hausa. When they called Chukwuemeka's name, he climbed onto the stage slowly, Adaiza holding his arm. The auditorium stood up applauding, and in his eyes, she saw confusion give way to recognition, recognition give way to silent gratitude. I no remember plenty things, he said into the microphone, voice trembling but clear. But I remember say words get power, stories get power. And people we choose to see other people, we choose to help when them no need to. We choose kindness when Lagos teach them say, make them choose survival. He looked at Adaisi. Those people, them be the real heroes of our story. The audience applauded again, but Adaisi wasn't listening. She was looking at Obiora, whose face shone with something like peace, at Chukwuemeka, who for a moment remembered exactly who he was. At all the people in that auditorium, carrying their own stories of struggle and resilience, losses and small victories that built entire lives. Lagos waited outside, chaotic, merciless, beautiful in its brutality. But inside that room, for that moment, there was something greater. There was recognition. There was memory. There was the simple and revolutionary choice to see another human being and say, you matter. Months later, when Adais finally received her nursing diploma, she dedicated it to 2 people, the mother she couldn't save, and the old man who saved her from forgetting why she wanted to save anyone in the first place. At the ceremony, Obiora was there with his father, who didn't remember her name, but smiled as if he remembered something important, something words couldn't reach. And that night, riding her own motorcycle through the familiar streets of Lagos, passing through Mushin, where it all began, through Allen Avenue where she chose to stop, through the university where she found purpose again, Adais finally understood what Chukwuemeka had tried to teach. We are built not by what we accumulate, but by what we do when nobody is counting, when there's no reward beyond the silent certainty that we chose to be human in a world that constantly tempts us to forget. Lagos roared its approval, a million stories unfolding simultaneously, each one important, each one fighting to be seen, each one proving that dignity has no price and that sometimes the greatest wealth is simply choosing to see value in another. and in doing so, discovering your own. And so, in the chaotic streets of Lagos, Adaize learned that true wealth was never in the deliveries she made or the money she didn't have, but in the courage to stop when the entire world screamed to move forward. Sometimes, losing everything is the path to finding what truly matters. Each of us faces that moment when we can choose between our survival and another person's humanity. The difference between who we are and who we can be lies in that simple choice: stop, look, see. Because in the end, we won't be remembered for what we accumulated, but for who we chose to be when nobody was watching, when there was no reward, when only our conscience knew. And that choice, that single decision to recognize that every life matters, regardless of how much money is in the account, is what makes us truly rich. If this story touched your heart, leave your like here so say more people fit inspired by Adaize and Chukwu Emeka journey. Subscribe to the channel to receive more stories way. They celebrate strength, dignity, and human resilience. And no forget to activate the bell. Make you go get notification when new story drop. And for the comments, share where you day watch us from. We want to know which corner of the world this message of hope and humanity they reach you. Your presence here, your engagement, they help these stories travel far and touch more hearts. Thank you for being here, for choosing stories way matter, for believing say kindness, still they transform lives.